Game of the year. Wow. Just wow.
From LA to Piscataway, all Big Ten all year long. This is Big Ten 10.
I want to apologize right off the bat to our Oregon and Washington fans that are going to be joining us next year. Your game was great. Earlier this season, your game was fantastic, but it wasn't this. It wasn't the game. And when they say the game, I think they really mean the game of the year. This game had absolutely everything. This game had the stakes. This game had the back and forth. It had the offense. It had the defense. It had the passion. It had the energy. It had the crowd. It had the atmosphere. It had every single thing you are looking for in a game of the year, in a game of the century type of showdown. Here's the thing. Before I really get into the X's and O's of this game and really break it down, these are two elite championship, national championship level football teams. If you can't look at this game and figure that out, I don't know what else to tell you. In a 6-point difference, 30 for Michigan, 24 for the Ohio State Buckeyes. These teams were so evenly matched. It was a play here and a play there that really was the difference in this game. But here's the thing about it from the Ohio State point of view. For the Buckeyes, considering everything else that's going on in college football, I've covered that before, I still don't think you're going to need a lot, and I mean a lot of chaos to be able to back your way in as a Big Ten at large into the college football playoff, because I don't think it really matters who wins in the SEC. They're in, whether it's Alabama or whether it's Georgia. Okay, they're going to need Texas to lose. They're going to need Florida State to lose. But in theory, the SEC champion is in. The Big Ten champion, if it's not Iowa, is in if there's no major upset there between the Wolverines and the Hawkeyes. And then the Pac-12 champion is definitely in that game between the Oregon Ducks and the Washington Huskies. So that's 3 teams right off the top there. Maybe they can back into that fourth. Who knows? But you're going to need to see some chaos, I think, on championship weekend for the Buckeyes. But if they do back into that spot, if they do, who knows what can happen, and maybe they could make a run at a national championship. But these two teams, elite college football teams this season in the country. Let's start first with Ohio State. All right, Michigan always seemed to be like a step ahead in this football game. Okay, the interception, the turnover by Kyle McCord was huge. I just knew it. Okay, I knew that this game could go many different ways even after that interception. But when that happened and then Michigan got on the board early, I'm like, you can't give the other team a short field like that in a game of this magnitude. I just knew that that could be a deciding factor in this football game, and that's really exactly what happened. 6-point game, interception, it turns into a touchdown the other way. But you look at that, but Ohio State always seemed to respond. When Michigan was a leg up in this football game, the Buckeyes always seemed to come back. The Buckeyes always seemed to fight back. Kyle McCord has been a gutsy quarterback this season for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Sure, he's been up and down. It's been a little bit of a roller coaster season. Is he the most accurate quarterback in the world? No. Has he been playing better as of late? Yes. Like, we all know the story about Kyle McCord, but after that interception, I thought he played a really, really good game the rest of the way, and he willed Ohio State to make this a game late in this matchup. But they were always there. But the thing is, they were playing a step behind this entire game against Michigan. When you face off against the Michigan Wolverines, you need to be playing from a position of power. Look at that game last year against TCU, where J.J. McCarthy has always got to throw to get kind of back into this football game. You need to get Michigan behind and have them kind of get out of their comfort zone. It was the opposite. When Michigan plays within a position of power, you saw what happened on that last drive where they milked all of that clock. You get back to that 4 and 5 minute offense that Michigan is so good at. The boa constrictor tightens and tightens, and you saw that Ohio State defense get worn down really throughout that final drive. Of course, the field goal, and then the Buckeyes couldn't do anything with it. Man, did they make it really close. They got me on the edge of my seat, standing up just feet away from the television. Once again, another fantastic college football game, no question. It was the college football game of the season. Kyle McCord, certainly not the most prolific quarterback in all of college football, but in a lot of games, like you look back to the Notre Dame game, that drive puts Ohio State in a position to punch the ball in late. Key throws that he made got Ohio State to an undefeated 11-0, got them to this point. And then even in this football game, maybe a little bit of a microcosm of the Ohio State season, he got them to that point. They just came up a little bit short in this game against the Michigan Wolverines, who I believe is just a little bit of a better football team. Let's talk about Michigan in this one. Okay, I said they were always a step ahead in this game, and that's exactly how they wanted to play. I thought Sherrone Moore called a really good game. I thought this was a balanced approach for Michigan. I said coming into this one, I don't think you're going to be able to do what you did against Penn State. Like, you're not going to get in a game where J.J. McCarthy maybe throws it 10 or 11 times and you just run it 30, 40, however many times, and you beat Ohio State that way. I think you needed to come out with a balanced approach. I thought he did a good job mixing run, mixing pass. This was the type of game where Michigan is in control. This is the type of game where Michigan succeeds. And as good as Kyle McCord bounced back, I thought J.J. McCarthy made some big-time throws in this game. I know the stat line is going to maybe lean in favor of the Buckeye quarterback, but J.J. McCarthy as well played a really, really good football game throughout the entirety of this one. Taking care of the football. Maybe that was the difference in this game. I said in my preview, quarterback play was going to determine where this game went. And it was Kyle McCord's improvement at quarterback that brought Ohio State back into this football game. But it was Michigan's steady, clean performance from J.J. McCarthy and him not turning the football over and Michigan winning that battle, and Michigan winning that from that kind of standpoint is what maybe led the Wolverines to a victory in this game. Boy, I talked before about the emotion and the passion and how this game had everything. When you talk about that emotion and you talk about that passion, the injury to Zach Zinter really seemed to flip the game because it was so even. You look at past years in this rivalry where it's close in the first half and then Michigan tightens the grip and sucks the life out of the Buckeyes. Okay, this one was 17-17. I thought Ohio State did a really good job coming out in the second half, holding the Wolverines to a field goal, and holy crap. How about that drive where Lou Holtz was nowhere to be found because they got physical and physical and physical and physical. It was 17-17 in that game where they just jammed it down Michigan's throat. But then the Zach Zinter injury. Boy, did that seem to flip things. It seemed to flip a switch inside the players of the Michigan Wolverines. Because when you're with those guys and these guys inside that locker room every single day and you're fighting and you have a leader like Zach Zinter that goes down, that motivational factor just jumps up to 11, to 12, to 13, to 14, to 15 within those guys. Ensuing play, Blake Corum takes it in for a touchdown, and then that 10-0 spurt, that burst of energy from the Michigan crowd and this Michigan football team where they got the Blake Corum touchdown. They held him, and then they went down, and they got a field goal. Like that burst of energy and that runs in basketball, right? Sometimes we talk about runs. That 10-0 run for the Michigan Wolverines was so huge. Ohio State, once again, we talk about their responses. Once again, we talk about them coming back. The response from that, I thought, was the most impressive response for Ohio State because momentum was huge, walking over to the side of the Ohio State Buckeyes. They could have punched it in for a touchdown there to make it 31-17, but the Buckeyes stopped, and then the Buckeyes scored to keep this one a ball game. I thought was very impressive, but it's also impressive the way Michigan responded from the injury to Zach Zinter throughout this game. Michigan is always going to Michigan. Okay, it is so difficult to play a 60-minute game against this team. It is so difficult to play the entirety of a football game and beat the Michigan Wolverines. They are so tough on the inside. It's so difficult to go the distance against a team like Michigan, play that clean game, make all of the plays, especially when you're playing from behind like Ohio State was in this matchup. It is extremely difficult to go toe-to-toe with the Maize and Blue for that amount of time and make more plays than them, commit less penalties than them, commit less mistakes than them. And it was just those few key plays towards the end of this game that cost the Ohio State Buckeyes. All right, so Michigan punches their ticket to the Big Ten championship game where they are going to be just a little bit of a favorite, you got to think, against the Iowa Hawkeyes. This is a Michigan team that can certainly win a national championship. They've got it at quarterback. Even without Zach Zinter, it's still a really, really good offensive line, one of the best in the country. They still got the run game. Colston Loveland. You talk about tight ends. I talked about tight ends in my preview, and that was key to them. And then this defense. Okay, it's one of, if not the best defense in all of college football. This is a championship-level team. When I look at a team like Michigan, and then in the SEC, the Georgias and the Bamas, I look at those future Big Ten teams out in the Pac-12, this is going to be an extremely competitive college football playoff. And Michigan holds all the cards right now. Michigan holds a great spot to be able to make a run for a national championship. And now they get their head coach back, Jim Harbaugh, for the Big Ten championship game. And then, of course, beyond there with the college football playoff. An impressive showing, a game that will go down in history. All right, I compared it earlier in the week to that 2006 matchup with the buildup, with the stakes, with everything. And boy, did it live up to every single thing, just like that matchup did in 2006.
Thanks for watching Big Ten Ted, where it's all Big Ten all year long. Make sure to like the video to spread the word of Big Ten Ted to the masses, and subscribe to the channel for updates on Big Ten content that drops every day.